Story 1. I'm from Ukraine, so I'd choose a place anywhere with a warm climate, far away from Russia, without Russians, and without self-entitled people that would educate me about the great Russian culture. Otherwise, I'd like to stay in my own country if it becomes well protected from the enemies and it won't see another war in the near future. Story 2. I did 18 years ago. I live in Japan. I am not sure I would recommend it. It is a mixed bag, and Japan seems to attract weird Westerners. But I am glad I am not in the United States anymore. Story 3. Probably Canada. I got really into hockey when my hometown, Las Vegas, got a team in 2017. I have made a ton of Canadian friends since. I doubt the culture shock would be all that much. The majority speaks the language I speak, and I would even potentially live in the same time zone. Story 4. I am in the United States now. I would move to France. Italy or Greece would probably be my next choice. I majored in French and classics, Latin and ancient Greek at university. Story 5. I have lived in 4 English-speaking countries, and right now, I am happiest in New Zealand. It is far from perfect, but nowhere is. All things considered, the politics and people here mean well, the weather is usually great, crime, especially violent crime, is low, and the bureaucracy is not overwhelming. Story 6. I like it where I am. I've lived and worked on 5 different continents, so I know for a fact the grass isn't any greener on the other side. Doesn't mean I don't or won't go and live on another continent for the purposes of work, when or after I am paid to do such work, which I have done in the past, but it's for work only. I don't actually live on those continents permanently. I merely stay on those continents for work purposes temporarily. Story 7. I lived in Italy for a while and speak Italian passably. Absolutely loved it. My Italian friends used to say that I am not genetically remotely Italian, but my heart is. Story 8. I lived for a while in another country and realized that it would not be better than in my own country because everything is still very different in each country. Story 9. I would not be perfectly happy in a United Kingdom village. Pubs, community cinema, grocery deliveries, same day, sometimes even same hour, doctor appointments. Dark skies, 90 minutes from central London and most major theaters and sports venues. Pretty much zero crime. Sea, beaches, rivers, best fishing, great walks, bluebell woods. Not too hot, not too cold. It's all right. Story 10. I am an American and I would go to Canada. I have been there and the social cohesion was refreshing. They gave me Dan Aykroyd and John Candy, so I owe them my life as far as I am concerned. Story 11. Cue random Reddit white guy saying they want to move to Norway or Sweden, knowing nothing about those countries except nonsense they read online, and likely not realistically enjoying said countries. Story 12. I would not. My country has problems, all countries do, but it is where I was born and where all my family and friends are. I speak the language here and understand the culture and how things work here. I would not want to live anywhere else. Story 13. I think Ireland and Belize are at the top of my list. I used to work a job where I got to call all over the planet, plus a trip to Belize, and those 2 nations had the most reliably friendly people. If someone from one of those 2 countries is ever mean to me, I'm going to assume I did something to offend them. After that, I think I'd do well in Germany or a Scandinavian country. I have social anxiety, and I think I would operate well in a country with such strict social rules. Story 14. If it were me, I would want to move to one of the Nordic countries because they have quite a culture of hunting and outdoor activities, and I love winter. I might put Canada on that list too. Story 15. I've done it a few times, it's addictive. You never regret a new experience. Go book those tickets. For what it's worth, the next places I'd consider would be Sweden, Japan, or New Zealand. Story 16. New Zealand in a heartbeat. I visited for 2 weeks last summer and fell in love with the laid-back lifestyle. The locals are incredibly friendly, and I could not get over how pristine everything is. Plus, I am a huge Lord of the Rings nerd, so that is basically my dream backyard. Story 17. Vietnam. Can't wait to move there when I retire. Healthcare and cost of living are very affordable. Immigrated since 1975. Motherland is where it's at. Story 18. New Zealand. I nearly moved there after getting both a work and a study visa as an American, but COVID closed their borders before I could enter. Then I hesitated back then, wondering what if I wanted to come back to work in the United States with that degree? That kept me from re-engaging after it all blew over. It's in the back of my head again now, actually, and unless an event makes travel untenable or a job with demanding time off, I will likely be going back to New Zealand sometime this year to see how things have changed since. Story 19. I would like to move to Vancouver. I lived in San Francisco before and I loved it, but the city is destroyed thanks to technology communities and corrupt politicians, and no one wants to live in the United States anymore. Story 20. An island in Greece, no cars, hippies welcome. A few years ago, I saw one called Gaia for sale, a rock in the sea for $2.5 million, perfect. We could live underground and catch the sea breeze to turn it green again. Story 21. New Zealand. For the natural beauty, standard of living, and being geographically distant from all the issues about to arise in Europe and North America. Story 22. Fantasy? Switzerland or Czechia. Reality? Canada or Mexico. Based on current events, I feel slightly fortunate to live in California, but watching my country burn from here is still difficult. Moving doesn't make sense yet and is not something I ever considered before this year, and it's been fascinating to learn about how few options most Americans have when it comes to living somewhere else. Story 23. Assuming I have money and a job would not be an issue nor language barriers. Mexico, Spain, Italy, Greece, maybe United Kingdom. Not really a fan of megacities, but I would still be interested in seeing what East Asian countries are like. Story 24. Slovenia is the most beautiful country I have ever seen. The people are beautiful as well. They are compassionate about the environment and many grow their own fruit and vegetables. Local produce is commonplace. There are great beaches not far away and rail connections to other nice spots in Europe. Croatia would be a close second, and the Czech Republic in third. The only negative about the Czech Republic is that it is landlocked. Story 25. I have never watched anime or been a stereotypical nerd. It's just that Japan, especially the beach areas, looks so nice. The whole place, from the material I've seen, looks modern and clean. The culture there seems to uphold a high standard and doesn't seem to allow any kind of urban problems. Story 26. I'm in the United States of America, so Canada if they'd take me, but probably not at this point. Mexico would be nice. I've really enjoyed my time in Mexico City. I'd move mostly anywhere I could work. Story 27. I'm in Canada and wouldn't want to live anywhere else, but would be down with New Zealand, Norway, or Sweden. Similar vibes and mindset, great outdoor lifestyle, and I always meet kind people when traveling from these places. Story 28. Somewhere in Europe where I can survive by speaking English until I learn the local language and where there are amusement parks with good roller coasters. Story 29. If I had my pick, the countryside somewhere in England with my husband. This is assuming my kids have moved out. I wouldn't be here year-round. I'd spend weeks near where my kids live too. Story 30. England, I just love British TV shows. Peep Show, Would I Lie to You? Etc. And British culture. Also, it's cool that you can easily visit other countries in Europe. From an American. Story 31. What other country? There is only the United States and not the United States according to the way I was brought up. Who would want to be in not the United States? That's where the barbarians live, and that's no country at all. Cities count as not the United States too. We don't like those. And California also not the United States. The answer is a four-way tie between Germany, Belgium, Singapore, or Ireland, by the way. Story 32. Somewhere with an impossibly high quality of life like Sweden or New Zealand. It seems so foreign compared to the waking nightmare we're living in the United States right now. Story 33. Mexico has the best food in my opinion and some of the best climates possible with the elevation. It's not an ideal situation with the gang violence, but if I could figure out a way to not be on that radar, I'd pick Mexico for sure. Tepoztlán or somewhere in Morelos or Guanajuato. Story 34. American here, probably just to Canada. I'm from Louisiana, so there's some kindred spirit there. Also, It's not too different from here except like free healthcare and an insane person isn't running the country and trying to consolidate power. Plus, my company's headquarters is in Canada, so I could probably keep my job. Story 35. I visited Vienna a few years back, and it was insanely beautiful. Plus, almost everybody spoke English in the city. Although I would learn German if I lived there, it makes for a very easy transition. Plus, the subways were very clean and super convenient. Story 36. Spain. It's warm, people are friendly, with beautiful cities and good public transportation. It seems a lot more laid back than the United States, or at least where I am in the United States, in New York City. Story 37. My wife and I both absolutely love Ireland, especially the rural areas. We both have roots there, and when we are there, it feels like coming home. The trouble is we have 6 grandchildren. We can't move across the pond because we would never see the kids. And those kids are everything. Story 38. Japan. Despite its downsides, you wouldn't need to own a car. Rent is surprisingly cheap outside of the heart of Tokyo. Cleanliness. Low crime. Things get handed in instead of stolen. Services are so polite. Food is amazing. Plenty of different things to do. It's not just shrines. Story 39. My brother lives in Paraguay, and it seems pretty lovely. Of course, maybe not for the native citizens, but for English speakers it's pretty great. Healthcare is cheap after United States dollar transfer. He got diagnosed, had 2 surgeries, and receives various prescriptions for conditions he never would have known he had or would have died from in America. Food is good, the internet is good, and housing is cheap. He works online for less than the minimum wage in the United States and lives like a king. Steak every night if he wants it. If not, they go out to some Michelin star place or a Brazilian-style steakhouse. Literally, the only downsides are the roads are poor, and driving is a no-no unless you were born there and know all the secrets to the roads or accept you're going to get into accidents from time to time. Story 40, Portugal or Spain, maybe. Greece is up there on the list. Any country that makes it easy to travel, I'm all for. Vietnam seems like a cool place to visit, but I don't know about living there. Story 41. I'm American, but I have a friend in Norway and a friend in Sweden, and I just like how their countries are run more than the United States. My friends there both love it. I feel like it's rare nowadays to love your country and not have any desire to move elsewhere. Both of them, despite the cost, actually have no desire to move to another country. That would be nice, to love where you live. Story 42. Scotland. Maybe Ireland. Really anywhere in Europe that will have me. I'd even learn Finnish to move to Finland so I could learn why their schools are so great. I'm Canadian but currently in the, worst part of Canada. The part that wants to be America. Story 43. Japan. It has nature and technology, great transportation, and many major cities, each with its own vibe. There is a lot of history and very short flights to the rest of Southeast Asia. The currency is very weak against the dollar too, and my favorite part, no tipping. Story 44. Netherlands. I kind of like its weather, not hot, not cold. Good bicycle infrastructure, LGBTQ plus friendly. I find the names of their cities really beautiful as well as the language in general. Story 45. I would probably go somewhere in the United Kingdom. The scenery is gorgeous, and it's close to other places I would want to visit more frequently. The lifestyle seems good based on my single visit there. An alternative is maybe Italy, but their political situation is not much better than ours right now. It's gorgeous though, and the food is excellent. I'm kind of loving Canada at the moment, but they probably would not have me. Story 46. I've been fantasizing about moving to Norway or Sweden or one of the other Scandinavian countries for a while. There is a big effort to revive their historic food culture, and it is just a really cool area. Plus, they generally poll as the happiest countries. Being a big Tolkien nerd, part of me also dreams of living in New Zealand and becoming a 6'2" hobbit. Story 47. I live in the United States. My brother and his wife just moved to Portugal. I wish I could join them. My grown daughter is disabled. She uses a wheelchair and is intellectually disabled. We get a lot of help from the government with her care. But of course, who knows how long that will last now. My grown son is also here, and I don't want to move away from him. So here I am watching my country crumble. Story 48. Ireland, I guess. Honestly, I want to live in the United States of America. But if I've got to ride out the apocalypse, then maybe the Emerald Isle would be the place for me to do it. Story 49. American, so likely a place that speaks English just for ease of assimilation. So maybe Australia, Canada, or the United Kingdom. With the way things are going, though, I'd stay away from Europe. Story 50. England, Scotland, Netherlands, and Norway, and maybe France. Story 51. The United Kingdom. I currently live in Canada and have dual citizenship. With the American government threatening to invade and annex my country, I would move my family there if needed. I absolutely refuse to be an American or live under American occupation. Story 52. I have two based on my favorite places I've traveled to, but this could easily change after traveling more if and when I get the chance. Also, none of them are realistic because I have no money currently, and finding work and visa sponsorship is near impossible in my experience. Italy. The whole country is just beautiful. The food and ingredients are so high quality and healthy. I appreciate the mountains and lemon trees, blue water and cliffs, and the weather. I also loved the occasional passionate public drama I witnessed in a few southern towns. Singapore. Just a beautiful place with a different culture than mine but a shared official language. I'd also be temporarily rich living there after saving a lot due to the exchange rate of my country, and given I would also secure a job and visa there. It's close to Southeast Asian countries I'd also like to visit. The downside is the very strict government, and I haven't spent enough time there to really see how much I like it long term. I would also love visiting places I'm not welcome due to my nationality, unfortunately.